Australia sits in one of the most strategically important positions in the Indo-Pacific, and with China expanding its military reach, Canberra has been spending billions upgrading its defense capabilities. This is every piece of equipment Australia has to defend itself. Main battle tanks M1A2 SEP-V 3 Abrams. Australia bought 75 of these American main battle tanks to replace their older M1A1s, and the SEP-V3 is one of the most advanced tanks in service anywhere. This variant features improved armor, better fire control systems, a trophy active protection system, and upgraded electronics that put it on par with anything China or regional threats could field. For Australia's small armored force, having top-tier individual platforms matters more than raw numbers. Armored Fighting and Reconnaissance Vehicles, ASLAV. The Australian Light Armored Vehicle is an 8-wheeled reconnaissance platform that's been in service since the 1990s. It's fast, amphibious, and armed with a 25mm cannon that can handle light armor and infantry. The ASLAV is getting old and will eventually be replaced, but it still does the job for reconnaissance and screening operations, where speed matters more than heavy armor. Boxer CRV. Australia bought over 200 Boxer combat reconnaissance vehicles from Germany, and these are legitimately impressive machines. The Boxer is modular, meaning you can swap out different mission pods depending on what you need. Reconnaissance, command post, ambulance, whatever. It's got excellent protection against mines and IEDs, and the 30mm cannon can engage light armor effectively. Armored personnel carriers and mobility vehicles, M113 AS4. These are upgraded versions of the ancient M113 that's been around since Vietnam, and Australia is still using them for mechanized infantry. The AS4 variant has better armor, improved suspension, and modern electronics, but at the end of the day, it's still a Vietnam-era box on tracks. Australia knows these are outdated and is planning to replace them, but for now, they provide basic armored transport for infantry who need to keep up with tanks. Bushmaster. This is Australia's homegrown protected mobility vehicle, and it's proven itself in Afghanistan and Iraq with excellent survivability against IEDs and ambushes. The Bushmaster uses a V-shaped hull to deflect blasts away from the crew, and it's saved countless lives in combat. It's not heavily armed, just a machine gun or automatic grenade launcher, but for patrol and transport in hostile areas, the Bushmaster is one of the best vehicles Australia ever designed. Hawkeye. This is Australia's replacement for unarmored Land Rovers, providing better protection than soft-skinned vehicles while remaining light enough for rapid deployment. The Hawkeye features mine-resistant design and can mount weapons up to 12.7mm machine guns. It fills the gap between completely unprotected utility vehicles and heavy MRAPs like the Bushmaster. G-Wagon 4x4. Mercedes-Benz. G-Wagons serve as light utility vehicles for tasks where armored protection isn't necessary. These are basically military versions of civilian SUVs. Reliable, simple to maintain, and cheap to operate. They're not surviving combat, but for logistics and transport in secure areas, the G-Wagon does fine. Logistics trucks. HMT Extenda. These are heavy military trucks built by Thales Australia for logistics and heavy cargo transport. The Extenda can carry 10 tons and tow another 20 tons, making it essential for moving supplies, ammunition, and equipment. Logistics wins wars, and Australia needs trucks that can handle rough terrain while carrying serious weight. Rheinmetall MAN HX series. These German military trucks supplement the Extenda fleet, providing additional heavy transport capacity. The HX series is modular and can be configured for cargo, fuel, water, or equipment transport depending on mission requirements. Artillery and fire support. M7 to 77, 155mm howitzer. Australia operates 54 of these American-towed howitzers, and the M777 is one of the best artillery pieces in service. It fires GPS-guided Excalibur rounds that can hit targets at 40 kilometers with precision, turning artillery into a sniper rifle instead of an area weapon. The M777 is lightweight enough to be helicopter lifted, giving Australia the ability to rapidly position artillery support where it's needed. M142 HIMARS. Australia bought 20 HIMARS systems from the United States, and this is a game changer for long-range fires. HIMARS can launch GPS-guided rockets out to 70 kilometers or ATAC-EMS missiles beyond 300 kilometers, allowing Australia to strike targets deep behind enemy lines. In a conflict with China, HIMARS would be used to hit invasion fleets, airfields, and logistics hubs before they ever reach Australian territory. Mortars. 81mm MQ-28A. These medium mortars provide organic fire support for infantry battalions, delivering high explosive and illumination rounds out to about 5 kilometers. Mortars give infantry commanders immediate indirect fire support without waiting for artillery. 60mm M224A1. These light mortars are carried by infantry companies for immediate fire support at ranges under 3 kilometers. The 60mm is light enough that infantry can carry it on patrol and set it up quickly when contact is made. Anti-tank and air defense FGM 148 Javelin. Australia operates hundreds of Javelin anti-tank missiles, and this is one of the best man-portable anti-tank weapons ever made. Javelin is fire and forget with top attack capability that hits tanks where armor is weakest. The Javelin turns individual infantry teams into serious anti-armor threats. NASAMS 3. Australia bought the Norwegian Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile System to provide medium-range air defense, and NASAMS 3 is a serious upgrade to their air defense capabilities. The system uses AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles to engage aircraft and cruise missiles out to about 50 kilometers. For Australia, which faces potential Chinese air and missile threats, having legitimate medium-range air defense is critical for protecting bases, ports, and cities. Army Aviation Eurocopter Tiger. Australia bought 22 Tiger-armed reconnaissance helicopters from Europe, and these have been problematic. The Tiger is supposed to provide anti-armor capability with Hellfire missiles and rockets, but Australia has struggled with reliability and maintenance issues. Australia is already looking at replacing these with AH-64 Apaches because the Tiger program hasn't delivered the readiness Australia needs. CH-47 F Chinook. Australia operates 10 Chinook heavy transport helicopters, and these are the workhorses of military aviation. The Chinook can carry 33 troops or 10 tons of cargo internally, and it can sling load artillery pieces and vehicles externally. In Australia's vast distances, Chinooks are essential for rapid deployment and logistical support. UH-60M Black Hawk. Australia bought 40 Black Hawks to replace their older helicopters, and the UH-60M is the most advanced variant with digital cockpit and improved engines. The Black Hawk handles troop transport, medevac, resupply, and special operations insertion. It's reliable, proven in combat worldwide, and exactly what Australia needs. EC-135 T3+. These light helicopters are used for pilot training, providing Australian Army aviators with a platform to learn rotary wing operations before transitioning to combat helicopters. Training aircraft don't win wars directly, but without them, you can't produce the pilots who fly the aircraft that do. Unmanned aerial vehicles. RQ-7 B Shadow. These tactical reconnaissance UAVs provide real-time intelligence to ground commanders, loitering over battlefields for hours with cameras and sensors. The Shadow isn't armed, it's purely for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Shadow gives Australian ground forces the ability to see over the next hill and identify threats before making contact. Watercraft LCM-8 landing craft. These landing craft mechanized can transport 60 tons of cargo or 100 troops from ship to shore during amphibious operations. Australia needs amphibious capability for operations across its northern islands and potential deployment to Pacific nations. Lark 5 Amphibious Cargo Vehicle. These Vietnam-era amphibious vehicles can drive off ships, swim to shore, and drive inland to deliver cargo. The Lark 5 is ancient, but still effective for ship-to-shore logistics where you don't have port facilities. Fighter and Combat Aircraft F-35A Lightning II. Australia bought 72 F-35As, and this is the core of their future air combat capability. The F-35 is a 5th-generation stealth fighter with advanced sensors, networking, and weapons integration designed to penetrate defended airspace and achieve air superiority against advanced threats like Chinese J-20s. Australia's F-35s give them a legitimate ability to contest airspace against regional threats. F/A-18F Super Hornet. Australia bought 24 Super Hornets as an interim solution before F-35s arrived, and these remain in service providing capability while the F-35 fleet builds up. The Super Hornet is a proven 4th-generation multi-role fighter that can handle air-to-air combat, strike missions, and maritime patrol. It's not stealthy like the F-35, but it's reliable and carries a serious weapons load. EA-18 G Growler. Australia operates 11 Growlers for electronic warfare, and these are critical force multipliers. The Growler uses electronic jamming to disrupt enemy radars, communications, and air defenses, allowing other aircraft to operate more safely. Electronic warfare doesn't get headlines like fighters, but it's absolutely essential in modern air combat. Airborne Early Warning and ISRE-7A Wedgetail. Australia operates 6 Wedgetails for airborne early warning and control, and this platform is so good that the US Air Force is buying them to replace their aging AWACS. The Wedgetail uses a powerful radar to detect aircraft and missiles at extreme ranges, coordinating friendly forces and providing battle management. Wedgetails would be the quarterback of Australian air operations, seeing threats hundreds of kilometers away and directing fighters to intercept them. P-8A Poseidon. Australia bought 12 P-8As for maritime patrol and anti-submarine warfare, and the Poseidon is the most advanced maritime patrol aircraft in service. It can hunt submarines with sonobuoys and torpedoes, attack surface ships with harpoon missiles, and conduct long-range reconnaissance. For an island nation, the P-8A is essential for detecting Chinese submarines and ships before they reach Australian waters. Transport and tanker aircraft, C-130, J-30 Super Hercules. Australia operates 12 C-130Js for tactical transport, and the Hercules remains one of the most versatile cargo aircraft ever built. The C-130 can operate from short, rough airfields, drop paratroopers, and deliver cargo by airdrop. For tactical mobility and flexibility, the C-130 is irreplaceable. C-17A Globemaster III. Australia bought 8 C-17S for strategic airlift, and these aircraft can carry tanks, helicopters, and massive cargo loads across intercontinental distances. The C-17 gives Australia the ability to deploy forces rapidly to regional crises. For a middle power that might need to project forces across the Pacific, the C-17 is essential. C-27J Spartan. Australia operates 10 Spartans for light tactical transport, filling the gap between the C-130 and helicopters. The C-27 can land on short, unprepared airstrips and deliver cargo to forward bases that larger aircraft can't reach. KC-30A multi-role tanker transport. Australia operates 7 KC-30As based on the Airbus A330, and these provide aerial refueling that extends the range of Australian fighters and maritime patrol aircraft. For a nation defending an enormous area like Australia, aerial refueling is essential. It lets F-35s and P-8S operate far from their bases. The KC-30 is a force multiplier that makes Australia's small air force more effective across vast distances. Training and utility aircraft Super King Air 350. These twin-engine turboprops handle utility transport, pilot training, and liaison missions. They're not combat aircraft, but they keep military operations running by transporting personnel and conducting training flights. RAAF VIP transports. Australia operates executive jets like the Challenger and Boeing 737s for VIP transport, moving government officials, and military leadership where commercial aviation isn't appropriate. These aircraft ensure continuity of government and allow senior officials to travel securely. Helicopters MH-60R Seahawk. Australia operates 24 MH-60R Seahawks for naval aviation, and these are the most advanced anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare helicopters in service. The Romeo can hunt submarines with dipping sonar and torpedoes, engage surface ships with missiles, and provide over-the-horizon targeting. In a naval conflict with China, MH-60Rs would be critical for detecting Chinese submarines before they can attack Australian ships. Destroyers Hobart Class. Australia operates 3 Hobart-class guided missile destroyers, and these are the most powerful surface combatants in the Australian fleet. Each destroyer features the Aegis combat system with SPY-1 radar, SM-2, and ESSM surface-to-air missiles, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, and a 5-inch gun. The Hobarts can conduct air defense, anti-submarine warfare, and surface combat simultaneously. Frigates Anzac class. Australia operates 8 Anzac-class frigates for general-purpose naval operations, including anti-submarine warfare, surface combat, and patrol. The Anzacs are smaller and less capable than the Hobarts, but they're versatile enough to handle routine patrol while still being effective combatants. They're armed with Harpoon missiles, ESSM air defense missiles, torpedoes, and a 5-inch gun. Submarines Collins class. Australia operates 6 Collins class diesel-electric submarines, and these are among the largest conventional submarines in the world. The Collins boats are designed for long-range patrols with endurance and weapons capacity that rivals many nuclear submarines. They're armed with Mark 48 heavyweight torpedoes and Harpoon anti-ship missiles. Submarines are force multipliers. A single Collins boat can threaten an entire enemy task force because it's nearly impossible to detect when operating quietly. Amphibious and support ships Canberra class. Australia operates 2 Canberra-class landing helicopter docks, and these are essentially small aircraft carriers. Each LHD can carry over 1,000 troops, tanks, helicopters, and landing craft for amphibious operations. The Canberras give Australia power projection capability across the Pacific, allowing them to deploy battalion-sized forces to regional crises or disaster relief operations. Bay-class landing ship dock. HIMARS Jules was purchased from Britain and provides additional amphibious capability. Jules can carry vehicles, cargo, and landing craft for ship-to-shore operations. It's older and less capable than the Canberras, but it adds capacity for amphibious operations. Patrol and coastal vessels Arafura class. Australia is building 12 Arafura class offshore patrol vessels to replace older patrol boats for maritime security, fisheries patrol, and border protection. The Arafuras are armed with a single 40mm gun. They're not warships for high-intensity combat, but handle presence operations and constabulary duties. Cape class. These patrol boats handle border protection and maritime security in Australian waters. They're fast, relatively inexpensive, and armed with machine guns for low-intensity operations against smugglers and illegal fishing vessels. Armidale class. These patrol boats are being replaced by the Arafura class, but they still serve in border protection roles. They've had mechanical problems over the years, which is why Australia is replacing them. Mine warfare and other support Huon class. Australia operates 6 Huon class coastal mine hunters for mine countermeasures operations. These ships use sonar and remotely operated vehicles to detect and destroy sea mines that threaten ports and shipping lanes. Mine hunters don't get attention, but perform a critical defensive mission. Supply class. Australia is building 2 supply class replenishment oilers to provide fuel, food, ammunition, and supplies to warships at sea. The supply class allows Australian task forces to operate far from home ports without returning for resupply. Leeuwin class. This hydrographic survey vessel maps ocean floors and collects oceanographic data. It's not a combat ship, but accurate charts are essential for naval operations. Naval weapons, Mark 45 5-inch gun. This naval artillery gun is mounted on Australian destroyers and frigates, providing surface fire support and shore bombardment capability. The 5-inch gun provides additional firepower and is cheaper than launching missiles for some targets. DS-30B. This 30mm automatic cannon serves as close-in defense against small boats and aircraft. The DS-30B provides last-ditch defense when threats get close to the ship. AGM-114 Hellfire. These missiles are carried by MH-60R helicopters for engaging surface vessels. Hellfire gives helicopter crews precision weapons for prosecuting threats without exposing the mothership. Standard and ESSM surface-to-air missiles. Australian destroyers and frigates carry Standard Missile 2 for long-range air defense and Evolved C Sparrow missiles for medium-range threats. These missiles provide layered air defense that makes it difficult for enemy aircraft and missiles to reach Australian ships. Service Rifles EF-88 Austere. This is Australia's standard service rifle, a modernized version of the Steyr AUG bullpup design. The EF-88 features improved optics and rail systems, fires 5.56mm NATO rounds, and is accurate and reliable. The bullpup design makes it compact while maintaining a full-length barrel. Support and Special Weapons F-89 Minimi. This is the Australian version of the FN Minimi light machine gun, firing 5.56mm rounds. The Minimi provides squad-level automatic fire, giving infantry sections sustained suppressive capability. IMAG-58. This belt-fed general-purpose machine gun fires 7.6 2mm rounds and serves as the primary machine gun for Australian forces. The IMAG-58 has longer range and more punch than the Minimi, and is one of the most reliable machine guns ever made. M2 HB. The ME Deuce 50 caliber heavy machine gun provides long-range firepower against light armor and aircraft. At 12.7mm, the M2 can disable vehicles and punch through walls that stop smaller calibers. M4A1 carbine. Australian Special Forces use the American M4A1 carbine for close quarters combat. The M4 is the standard for special operations worldwide, offering modularity and compatibility with advanced optics and accessories. GAU-21. This is the 50 caliber machine gun mounted on helicopters and naval vessels for defensive armament, providing heavy firepower against surface and air threats. Pistols, high eye power. The Browning High Power has been Australia's standard service pistol for decades. It's a 13-round 9mm pistol that's reliable and proven, though it's being replaced by newer designs. Emerging and future systems, MQ-28A Ghost Bat. This is Boeing Australia's autonomous combat aircraft program designed to operate alongside manned fighters like the F-35. The Ghost Bat is a stealth UAV that can conduct reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and potentially carry weapons while being controlled by human pilots in manned aircraft. The concept is revolutionary. Loyal wingman drones that extend the capabilities of manned fighters without risking pilots. If successful, Ghost Bat would allow Australia to generate more combat power from their limited number of F-35s by giving each manned fighter multiple autonomous aircraft to command. Development is ongoing, and full operational capability is still years away. But Ghost Bat shows Australia is thinking seriously about future warfare.